Premise of the show is successful living, and so I want to push you beyond your limits. I want to.
Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Napick starts right now. Here's Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show. It is Successful Living with Bill Napick. Today, it's Successful Living with George Huntoon, also known as Local George, and in addition, Trey Clark with Trey Clarks Doghouse and Trey Clark Band. We're going to find out all about that, aren't we, George?
That's right. Good show today. Can't wait.
And you brought a tremendous guest, so let's get things going there. Local George.
All right, thank you. All right, this is Local George, a.k.a. George Huntoon with Local George Real Estate here in Houston, Texas. And I'm very excited because I have my longtime friend, Trey Clark, coming in the studio today to co-host and be a guest with us. And I'm super excited because Trey and I probably have about 20 shows worth of material here, but we're going to...
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We're going to try to pack it all into 1 hour here. So Trey and I have known each other about 30 years now. Trey Clark is a very, very talented Texas singer-songwriter, traveled on the road for many years around Texas playing, and then also... in the past several years, he has started up a successful dog training and boarding business, Trey Clarks Doghouse here in Houston, Texas, right off of near Kirby and 59. But anyway, I'll let Trey say hello, and then I've got all kinds of stuff that we can talk about. So, Trey, welcome. Good morning.
I'm trying to figure out how it took us so long to be sitting across from each other on a radio show.
I was thinking about that too. I said, you're right. 30 years ago, so Trey and I went to high school here in Houston, Klein High School, and I was thinking, I'm like, God, if you had told us we'd been sitting in a radio station across from each other, I would have believed you.
Well, half the conversations we have, it's like, we should just mic this up and just roll with it. But that was before I got into the idea of maybe people want to hear things that people like me want to say, which I'm still not sure is accurate.
So, okay, so we'll cover the Texas singer-songwriter life a little bit, and then we'll get into kind of dogs, and then we'll weave in some other funny stories and some other things along the way. So as far, you started playing at a pretty young age, I remember. But when did you kind of get into the Texas singer-songwriter genre, I guess?
Well, I think y'all came out to my first CD release. So I was out at SROs.
That's right.
So I kind of went a different route. I didn't start out as a starving musician. I was working restaurants and stuff like that. And then I decided, man, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it now because there's a short window of age is very important,
right?
As you are talking about music and drawing people and fans. So I said, I'm going to just cut a record. So I hadn't played one show with my band ever before that night that y'all came out for the CD release.
Right.
So I kind of did it backwards. Usually you open up for bands and stuff. So I just cut a record and saw what happened. And then right away, I was like, I'm not working anymore. I'm losing money by not playing shows right away.
I know. I was, you had some really great songs on there. What was that song about our friend Chris Fonts and Joe?
Oh, Abilene, yeah.
Was that Abilene?
Chris and Jody were the real thing.
Yeah. What's the name of that album?
It's called Broken Busted.
Yeah, you guys, look, if you're listening right now, look up Trey Clark, Broken Busted. That is a good CD.
We're on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. I hate to plug myself.
Spotify.
But also,
they're not trying to kick you off Spotify? Or no, you're not going to say, oh, I'm not going to be on Spotify because of Joe, in protest of Joe Rogan?
I'm taking all my music off of Spotify. No. So I'm going to make 0.03 cents instead of 0.06 cents per spin.
And Trey's kidding. He fully supports Joe Rogan. You're not a censor kind of guy, right? You don't believe in censorship.
I am absolutely in favor of just shutting everything down.
We should shut this show down. We'll get censored.
Exactly.
Actually, we should censor ourselves before the show gets censored.
I feel uncomfortable as we speak right now. I don't like this laughter and such.
So you're on Spotify, iTunes. I can buy your music if I wanted to.
Heck yeah.
Okay, I just can't listen to it for free somewhere.
Yes, you can. You can bootleg it and all that. You just Google. We're at all the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Just Google
You're on
Trey
like
Clark
YouTube
Band.
and stuff, right?
Yeah. Trey Clark Theories actually is a place to catch the stuff where I record, even as I'm practicing. Because I started producing the last record I produced myself. The first two was Jack Saunders, one of the local heroes, and then I did another live one at the Armadillo Palace, and then this last one when we had the shutdown, I was like, I'm going to learn to do this. So I did a record called Unfriended, where I played every instrument and everything under the sun on there, and I just learned to produce the record, and it came out to be pretty good. So that's actually on Spotify now.
You'll still do private shows and stuff like that.
At the Doghouse, we're going to be doing live music almost constantly. We might be doing live streaming, but the idea is that my buddies that come through town playing music, a lot of them have dogs and stuff like that. We're going to feed them, put them up, give them their own green room, let them park their bus, and then chill. And then they have a place to either sleep or just be on the road back and forth, and we can shuttle them back and forth to their show if they're playing at like House of Blues or something. And then the only payment I want is they're going to do a 3-song live stream with me on stage, and just kind of
that will be cool.
Kind of rig my own future with that. But you know the people that I know, so
right. So this is a couple of years ago now. So you decided you had always. I knew that you were always really good with training dogs, but you finally acted on it and took it full steam and made it a business. I remember you had, what was the pit bull's name?
Tabasco.
You had that dog, Tabasco. And, oh, man, this was Satan's little helper. Man, that thing was, but you trained him to be a good dog. And
he was the best, man.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
You're kind of like the dog whisperer a little bit. I mean, that's,
Well, I get put up against that term a lot, and I don't like it really because
I didn't think a lot of people don't want to be called a whisperer.
Well, what it does is it makes it magic, and it's not.
That's true.
And to kind of put a little kidding aside, the biggest thing that I saw was a lot of trainers want to make it almost just elusive enough to where you have to employ their services a little more. It's like, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. The dog's wrong and all this stuff. Like, you never really get to feel good about yourself. And I was like, I want people to feel great about themselves. And I was like, immediately, it was just a different approach.
But I think in reality, though, it's my belief, knowing you, that the way your mind works is you really can mental telepathy with the dogs. Like, come on, let's just, all kidding aside, I really do, Trey, you can talk to the dog, right?
I think you can do anything that seems magical if you really love it.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's working with the stock market, whether it's working with real estate, whether it's working, if you really love all the aspects of it and you see the nuances and you never feel like you're clocking out because you're never clocking in type thing.
Right.
And you're 24/7.
Okay, so let me paint this picture of where your doghouse, where your business is. So what is the address to that place?
It's 2107 Lexington. It's one block off. I mean, literally, it backs up to 59 at Shepherd.
Right. Yeah. So it's what is it?
2107 Lexington.
2107 Lexington. And what's the website?
TreyClarkDogs.com.
Yeah, TreyClarkDogs.com. So this is literally one block off of Kirby and I-10. It backs up to
59.
I'm sorry, Kirby and 59. It backs up to 59. It's this cool 2-story house, kind of an older house, and there's another house back behind it. So there's two houses together.
Yeah, there's a courtyard
there's a courtyard between the two houses. I've seen this thing. It's a really cool. It's a big property. It's really cool looking, and all the bedrooms are set up for the dogs, and then you have the big courtyard, which I guess it's a good, kind of cool because music, and then with your cooking, it is a very conducive facility for having playing music. Now, do you ever play music to the dogs? I mean, does that help them? I mean, I would think like a baby, you play some moves, soothing it down. Does that help the dogs at all sometimes?
Well, the dogs are victims of the fact that I'm pretty much always picking up my guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got the guitar hanging around all the time?
Oh yeah. Well, the funny thing is, man, and a lot of people that might be listening to this because of me. If once I sent it out, my guy that I hired, he was a guitar instructor. There was a very well-known guitar instructor for like 20 years. He died on the 23rd. I had to go get him out of his apartment, and he was a great musician. He was going to be my right-hand guy to do these shows, and I was like, he didn't show up the day before Christmas Eve, and we were busy as heck. And I had to go kick his door in, and I found him deceased. Yeah. Like just sitting there. It was the craziest thing in the world. And I was like, very well. Don't use that he better be dead or in a coma for not showing up thing. It was really odd. So,
I have
nice touch to put on that story, huh?
You just reminded me of a story. So I have I'm in real estate. I'm a real estate agent, broker here in Houston.
And for the record, George has bought and sold every house that I've ever
true. That's
owned.
Right. That's right. I have been your realtor for many years through multiple wives, whatever, I have a dog bite story, a real estate dog bite story, and this was only a few years ago. I actually have never, that I can recall, ever been bitten by a dog. I'm a dog guy, and I know when you go up to dogs, as long as you act confident, they're not going to mess with you. If you act scared, that'll make them. So anyway, I get a call from this guy and out in Katy on the west side, and I'm going to go over to talk to him about selling his house. He opens the door, and he's like, hi, and he's got these two dogs that are sitting right there. I don't think they were barking, but they were kind of right at the door with him. And I was dressed kind of, I guess, in a suit. I think I had my jacket on, maybe not a tie, but I was kind of official looking. And I put my hand out, like I always do. I just put my hand up to the dog so they can kind of sniff it. But in one of them I did, and then the second one I put my hand kind of right in his face, and man, that dog just snapped, grabbed my finger, and it ripped it on the pointer finger, right on the side of it. Yeah,
I could probably have predicted that one.
And oh my gosh, and so it starts bleeding, and of course the owner's freaking out. Oh my gosh, and get mad at the dog, and right away I'm like, no, it's my fault, don't worry. And I mean, he's like freaking out, thinking.
Well, one big problem is people think
maybe I'm going to sue him or something,
Well, of course, and you.
But what happens?
Realistic.
So fear. I don't want him to like freak out. I want to get the deal. I want to go on with the appointment. So I'm like, it's okay. I go in the kitchen sink. I put the water on. The blood's like washing off, and then I wrap it with paper. It hurt so bad. I mean, it was bad. But again, the whole time I'm just like going with it. I didn't tell the owner. We continue on with the appointment, and I go home. Anyway, I ended up getting the deal. But I go home. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to go get stitches. I got stitches, and it was a big ordeal. But and then when I went to the emergency room, they're like, do you know the dog? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, we're going to need to know all the info on it. And I'm like, whoa.
It's like a gunshot wound.
Right. And because then they're going to they're going to go get his dog, Harris County. And I'm like, no. Then all of a sudden I'm like,
dog jail.
Right. So all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I know, I've seen the dog, but I don't know who it is. So anyway, I didn't give any of the info. Went on. The owner still today is a good friend of mine. He's referred me a ton more. I've made a ton of money from this guy, and he still doesn't know that his dog, I ended up in stitches. But.
So the moral of this story is to make the sale, sacrifice your body.
That's right.
Now, one thing that you might not hear is just ignore dogs. You don't need to make friends with dogs. When you walk in, look the other way, don't make eye contact, and just walk right past them. And most dogs will just ignore you. That's where a lot of things happen. A lot of people want to be like, dogs like me, which is the most scary thing I've ever heard anyone say around the dogs that I train. And it's like, no, just they don't like me. Obviously I'll show you. But so it's really just kind of, and one of the things we do Tuesday nights at Levy Park, and I do need to plug this, I guess. At Levy Park, right there at Kirby and 59, is we do an hour clinic. It usually runs about 30 minutes, then we do a Q&A afterwards. And I bring a new dog out there, and I let everyone watch me work through the frustrating parts of, like, okay, I've never put this dog on a leash before, and everyone there at the dog park gets to watch me with a Madonna mic on and all this stuff and filming, work the dog into something to where these dogs are all going crazy. and they watch me do it real time. And we film it, and sometimes we live stream it, sometimes we don't. But it's
like a live demo dog training demo.
I think it helps for people. I'm real big on like empowering people, taking out the magic, like we're talking about. To go, I'm not doing anything special. It's just more tedious than some people realize, and it's not magic. And they get to watch me get frustrated and like I don't know what's going to happen. Truly, it is a clean slate with a dog that I know is not there because someone's trying to impress me with how good they are.
Man,
and they watch it happen in real time, and it's cool.
That is cool. A little live demo.
Beth has been there many, many times, and it's been.
I just was thinking, what about TikTok? Have you ever watched TikTok? They have some pretty crazy dog videos on there.
Are you trying to give my information to China?
No, right, exactly. I know.
Wow,
China
now I
won,
know why I'm
America
here.
0. I know that.
Thanks,
this
man.
TikTok is genius. China has absolutely. They have us addicted.
Maria,
it's like
I think
crack.
we're going to shut this down. I think I know why I'm here.
But I see these dog training videos on there, or just even amazing, instead of amazing cat videos, amazing. And I've seen these, I don't know what the mountain or what kind, but these dogs, they will run towards
The mountain
a
walls.
brick wall.
Yeah, I got
but
two
they'll
of
run
them.
up the brick wall and then jump like 30 feet in the air. I mean, some of the most amazing dogs.
Yeah, I have two of them.
And then I'll see some, like a dog place like yours, and they'll have 50 dogs in there just all sitting kind of quiet. And then, I mean, it's just, that's what we got. Yeah, we got to get Trey Clarks.
Sorry, go ahead.
When people seek your help out to train their dogs, are there like the top 3-4 things? What are the things that they come to you for? Are there common things, Trey?
Yeah, jumping up, usually just the stuff that annoys you. I'm a behavioral trainer. There is a dog trainer which teaches like tricks, go to your spot, dance on a beach ball, that type of stuff. I teach dogs. I'm kind of the dirty underbelly of the dog training world. I teach them not to do stuff. I teach them not to drive you crazy and not to cost you money by chewing up baseboards, your shoes, and jump up with muddy paws when you're going out to dinner, that type of stuff. So it's just to kind of make them good citizens in the household. Jumping up is a big one, barking incessantly, chewing, all the stuff you could probably guess, just that would make you pick up the phone and call someone out of frustration.
What about a dog? Like I have 2 dogs, as I mentioned. One of them is I don't know if he's bipolar. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what that really means, except that he doesn't interact well when we're taking walks with other dogs or other people. Sometimes he barks or growls at them for no reason. Can that be corrected?
Well, you're looking at it as in correcting as if there's something wrong with him. The way you start is, what is my dog? So if I were to throw you into a mosh pit concert, would you be comfortable?
No.
Okay. So, or if I were to make you read a 3rd grade level book, would you be comfortable or would you start sweating?
I think I'd be okay.
But you'd be okay fighting on pay-per-view in London for the Marine Corps, right?
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't.
I can do it all.
So just like I'm making fun. Right. By the way, George can read far past a 3rd grade level.
I don't know about that.
Dude, come on, man.
Are you helping me out? Yeah, I can. I really am a good reader.
But the thing is, they're individuals just like us. So it's like, my kid isn't good at math. What's wrong with them? Well, what are they good at? That my dog is not a social butterfly, but he's good at one-on-one, so you just kind of dial into it. So you start with the idea that the dog is not broken, so it doesn't need to be fixed. We have this idea that dogs are robots, and they need to be like our last dog or our neighbor's dog, our idea of a dog. When the reality is, they hurt, they wake up on the wrong side of the bed, they have all these things that are going on with them, fears. And the way I look at it, too, it's like, if you think of it more like you're a pilot, you're the pilot of the entire plane that is life, right. Their world, and they're a passenger, and they'll follow you because they have to. They don't have a choice. You got to be on the plane. So if the pilot's like, even experiencing turbulence, they look to the left and right and they say the quintessential, you experience a little turbulence if you look to the left. But they're calm and everything, you're calm. Right. You know that they're in control. But if you find yourself going, the pilot just walked out and threw up in the bathroom because he's scared to death and sweaty and all this stuff, the whole place goes nuts. So you as the pilot and dog owner need to control yourself first, and it starts with you and that energy. They're perfect receivers for that stuff. So they will pick up on your nervousness. They will pick up on anything. So confidence is great, but just the idea that if you stay ahead of it, if you walk out like a pilot going, I hope this dog does this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sure hope this dog doesn't do this, and I hope, what's wrong, and you're the pilot, well, that's kind of, you're setting yourself up.
Yeah, all animals are very intuitive, and they can sense that stuff, and the moon and the stars and the seasons. I mean, it all affects all of us. We're all animals to some extent, I guess, right?
No, yeah.
So then, as far as their personality, this particular dog, there's only so many things we can do. We all have personalities, but in this case, maybe that's just the way Elvis is going to be. He's not the social butterfly, like you said.
Well, what you do is you find yourself a reason to challenge him, just like if I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And I know that might be something that, no, they can't think for themselves like that. They're just going to protect their own, instincts and survival path. But if you find yourself like, I'm going to have to get over this, I'm not good at driving at night, something like that. You have to start out somewhere. Now, the difference between them and us is that we can decide that for ourselves. So you put them in safe but challenging situations, and you let them know that it's okay. The world's not going to end right there. You take them, if they're in a social situation where you find that they're freaking out and they don't like it, well, look at what's going on and say, let's recreate this and visit that on the fringe and calm them down and let them know that, and then, expand a little more. Start the circle small and then just expand more into it. Does that make sense?
Speaking of heights, I don't know. Have you ever skydived before?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering, have you done it once or more than once?
2 times.
Really?
Yeah. Tandem both times.
Here in Houston?
No, San Marcos.
Really? Man, that's something I want to do. And I was thinking of that because dogs. You see these dogs skydiving, like the Navy SEAL dogs.
We know the mountain wild you're talking about is the only dog that can jump out without being tandem. The German Shepherds and them are the only ones they typically.
I can't even imagine they let a dog jump out by itself.
They do, because the German Shepherds will do it, but they'll freak out for like 30 minutes after they land.
Yeah,
they can't. The mountain wild doesn't care.
Really? He just jump out, land, and he's ready to go.
They don't care.
They're like, "Come here, boy. Boy, how's he detach his chute?"
Here, they land with them. They find them. They just stand there and they're trained to do it. Here's the best thing. If any of y'all listening are dog fans and know that a German Shepherd and Belgian Malinois, which are used in special forces a lot, this is the best way they describe the difference between the two. They don't really look like each other, but if you're not used to seeing them, you could mistake them. So if you're standing on a cliff with a ball, and both dogs, a German Shepherd and a Belgian Malinois, are both just as if that's their ball, that's their everything. They'll do anything to get it or whatever. A German Shepherd, you launch it off the cliff, and they're going to run right up to the cliff, and they go like, let me find my way down. 2 weeks later, they'll come back with the ball. They'll figure it out. The Belgian Malinois is the one that just launches right off. It's like, goodbye, cruel world. I got the ball. Y'all lose, I win. And they're the happiest dog until they hit the pay dirt. That's the difference between those two.
That's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, they're an interesting breed. The Malinois is not for. I'm training one now for a girl that is PTSD candidate, and it's they're a lot of work, but they're worth every bit of it. But you're going to see that breed do the same thing that Doodles have done. There's a trend that happens when they trend to be popular, and a Belgian Malinois is more dog than almost anybody needs, unless you're willing to devote a lot of time to it. And they end up in the shelters. And now, where they used to be an expensive dog, you couldn't find them from a breeder. You're getting ready to see in the next 2 years, mark my words, you're going to find them in the shelters.
Yeah.
Because they're just not easy to handle,
I find fascinating too these these German Shepherd. A lot of families get these dogs trained to protect them. There's a very famous radio host here in Houston that is a client of mine, and he has one of these German Shepherds. And if I remember right, the dog's name is George as well. And this thing is trained to kill anyone other than his family, basically. And they have to keep this thing like in a closet if someone comes over. And, or actually, on the other hand of it, they could just be making it up because they'd always say, oh, he's in there. Don't go in that room. And
but there's no dog.
Right. It could be. I've never actually physically seen the dog with my eyes, but they have me believing there really is a dog.
And you believe it, yeah.
What if they have a speaker playing down there? They're like, summon the floating head of doom.
And he will kill you. But then they're like, oh, well, when I was showing people would come over to look at their house to buy it, they were like, oh, we got the dog out of there. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe.
Imagine, I didn't see him leave.
I know, but I don't know. I mean, I guess you can
It's a
train
Far
dogs.
Side cartoon where the parents are trying to get their kids to go to sleep, and they're like, don't make me knock 3 times and summon the floating head of doom, and the mom's downstairs with the balloon. That's
It's like someone sticking a sign in the front yard, like "Beware of dog" kind of thing.
Heck yeah! Well, you were the one who told me early on. You're like,
It works.
you don't need an alarm. I mean, when we were buying houses, like, should I put an alarm in? You're like, dude, you have dogs.
Yeah, just have the dog.
They bark. A barking dog is gonna.
Then you have those kind of dogs, that where they might bark, but then the bad guy will break in, and the bad guy's
friends with him.
He's got a ball.
He's
like,
he's got
oh,
a steak, a piece of meat, or some kind of
right.
food.
The bad guy's like, hey, you want to play ball?
I wonder if that'd be a good bead to hire dog trainers, to hire convicted people, because they have to deal with dogs.
That's right.
I bet they're probably pretty good. They're like, whatever. They bite me, whatever.
Now, a few years ago, we had a dog on this show, a Belgian Malinois, who worked for the Fulshear Police Department. Her name was Canine Belle. Now, she had passed away, I think, last year, but she was incredible. She came into the studio, barked on command, and then I got the opportunity to drive around for a morning with her handler, and it was awesome. Other than being a great police dog and doing the activities that you would imagine they do, the Fulshear Police Department used Canine Belle as an ambassador. She had a Facebook page. The children in the grade school would read to her, so they used it as a connection to the community. All that said, whether it's a Belgian Malinois or just little Elvis with his personality problems, dogs are amazing. And they can do so many things to interact with communities and with people. They're amazing.
I had something really interesting to say, but you made me forget it now.
Did you know Canine Belle? You probably heard about her out there.
Oh,
yeah,
she probably chased me once or twice. What was I thinking? I was going to ask you another question about the. Oh man, now you made me forget. God, I was so enthralled by that Canine Belle.
Well, she was incredible. But the dogs are, and George, what kind of? You have one or two, right?
Yeah, mostly Australian Shepherd, and then now I got to take care of my mom and dad's Labrador, Spice. They're kind of getting old, and they moved into a smaller place, and I really want it now. I've got this 12-year-old Labrador, which is in good health. But now I got hair all over my house. It's a mess. I need a maid. I mean, my wife doesn't like to clean up dog hair. I guess I don't either, but oh my gosh.
Sure,
dogs can be messy. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you, Trey.
I knew it was going to come.
Because Bill made me, his Canine Belle story messed my memory up. This is cat training. I mean, is it possible to train? I mean, it must be. I see people with these trained cats. Like, I think they had the Chinese circus or something going around. But I've seen other people train cats. And that is one thing in my life I wish I could. If I could own a cat that could do tricks. What are your thoughts on that? Theories, thoughts on training cats? What do you know?
I would like to yield my time to the senator for Georgia.
No, you absolutely. How do they do it?
I don't know, man. I don't train cats.
Come on, man. Do you think if I said, Trey, I'm going to hold a gun to your head, and you need I'll give you 1 week. This cat has got to be able to do a couple tricks.
How about solve the problem of this cat?
Yeah.
At all costs. No. Like, this cat is doing something that has bothered me enough to pick up the phone. Can I do that? Yes.
I just want to try.
I have a dog facility and we.
Do what?
I'm totally kidding. The funny thing is, I love cats.
Right.
I love cats. I just I can't keep them because
it's kind of like,
running joke.
Dogs that do cool tricks is real.
I have
really
no idea.
Cool,
It's so.
I guess I could Google it.
I can
cat trick trainer.
I don't do it.
I don't know.
Let's tell people the website again.
It's TreyClarksDoghouse.com. TreyClarksDoghouse.com. And you go there. If you want to book a consultation, the way it works is we just kind of figure out what's going on. It's an in-home environment. It's very laid back. The dog lives with me in rooms, like everything's set up like a bedroom, and we have a kind of a living area where the dogs that can all get along at one time together, they just kind of live with me, and they just morph into these dogs that you think your dog wants to be, instead of, we train it to be in a home, not a facility, right? And because I live there, I'm able to just be around them all the time. And
now all the dogs, is this a democratic type dog society, or is it like an authoritarian?
Very authoritarian, but they can work their way up they can work their up through the ranks, and I will assign very, very heavy duties to the ones that are
like one
loyal.
dog can outrank the other. Like, kind of like the leader of the pack per se.
What I like to do is just kind of wander off and let them handle it, and then I just wander in and clean up the mess.
I think the word is dogtarian. Dogtarian,
it's like a Tartarian. I like that.
Dogtarian, very dogtarian.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a map.
Setup. Yeah, you have the dogs, but I guess there's also always the alpha.
We also change families by bringing dogs into the. That's great that you're off on this dogtarian deal, but what we do is we like to change lives, and we take dogs off the euthanization table,
that's true,
and get them back in there. So yeah, thanks for making a mockery of my work,
my
George.
pleasure.
By the way, we're like close friends, so I have to give him a little bit.
Now, of course, George, if Trey gets into the cat training business, certainly he could have TreyClarksCats.com. So that's on the
Trey Clarks Cat House.
That is a possibility.
Let me just say this.
Hold on, Trey Clarks Cat House.
Trey Clarks Cat House. Hey, if anyone listening to this right now, as they're driving down the road or sitting at home, and they're like, George, I know about cat training. I did it. If anyone look up my website or Google my name, localgeorge.com.
You literally brought me on here to talk about cat training.
Or George Huntoon. And email or text me. I want to know about this cat training. This is fascinating because I'm just fascinated.
So Trey Clark, you train dogs. What do you know about cats? I feel like you put me in the hot seat on that one.
Zebra training.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what about cats? So are you?
Well, see, I'm trying.
Are you cataphobic?
The premise of the show is successful living, and so I want to push you beyond your limits. I want to get you.
I'm very uncomfortable.
Dogs and
as Jordan Peterson would say, I'm very uncomfortable right now with this line of questioning, and I think that maybe.
Okay, let me ask you. As far as if someone comes to you with their dog and says, Trey, help me out. Fido doesn't do this or should be like this. I would think there's an assessment. I've seen other dog trainers.
Yeah, it's an evaluation.
Yeah. So how do you assess the dog? What do you see? How long does it take? How many minutes do you do this alone? Or
everything's from the hip. We just get them to come over on our turf. There's dogs barking. I already know what the dogs would be stressed by. There's different. We have this courtyard that's made for dogs to be able to do their business and all that stuff, and they can smell all that stuff. So I watch probably about 20% of the dog. I know what the dog's probably going to do after about the first minute. And then I watch the owner. And then I talk to them, because the owner is going to be the reason for success, not me, not the dog. Me and the dog, the dog and I will do what we do. And that's just 99% of the time. So it's not really about how to train dogs. It's how to relay to the owners how this dog is going to respond correctly, or respond in a way that works in your lifestyle. Because having a hyperactive, a high energy dog with 3 toddlers is very different than a high energy dog with a 70-year-old couple with nobody else in there. It's a totally different approach. Like, couldn't be more different. So that's kind of what the evaluation is for. I want to know what the layout of the house is. I want to know what your routine is, your sleep routine, what your problems are to begin with. Why are you here? Most people don't call me to impress me with how cool their dog is and pay me for it, just to watch them. And then let them kind of soak in what it is. Because what we do is no one's doing what we're doing. Because we live there, they live with us, but it's a home environment. I've looked for someone that's even similar. It doesn't work with anyone else unless you really have the vision ahead of time. So it's been, I mean, we rolled the dice. We opened it up, and suddenly we found there's
Y'all
plus
been
being
very
24/7.
successful. Y'all been very successful.
Well, being 24/7 has been big too, because usually if you drop your dog off for boarding or training and you want to pick him up on a Sunday evening, no, you got to wait till Monday. Your flight can be delayed until midnight on Sunday. You can pick your dog up Monday morning at 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And there's no late charges. There's no anything. We don't nickel and dime. The whole thing is like there's
You're
just
very fair on your prices.
we're trying to stay right in the middle, and there's no surprises.
I know. I saw that 2022 Corvette that you just bought, so I figured y'all are doing okay.
Well, I did very well in the Bitcoin.
Cryptocurrency.
I'm starting Buttcoin, my dog currency.
A little dog coin, Dogecoin. There you go. You need to name one of your dogs, crypto or something like that.
Yeah, I get a lot of advice.
Do you accept crypto? You could accept Bitcoin, right? If someone wanted to, I mean, you're inside the loop. There's got to be a ton of people. With
I like to stick to
cryptocurrency.
Changing lives, and I'll let the money take care of itself.
Changing
and
lives.
let the good Lord shine His light down on me. Thanks for bringing that up.
And how do you work the pricing though, as far as an outline? How does that work?
I kind of like on.
Is it by
It's hard
project?
to. It's like saying, how long is it going to take for me to get well from a doctor? It is project. So one thing that I and I'm glad you said that, because it snapped me out of that. What we don't do is say, we don't check boxes like, okay, by day 3 we're going to do this. By day 5 we're going to do this. I asked the owners to let me kind of Sherpa the whole project, and once I say I think it's going to take this long and this is what I'm going to charge it, that's it. If I'm wrong and it goes longer, then that's on me. So it's not like this constant, like, well, great, do I have to keep paying? Or I've had dogs I've kept an extra month. It was like, I got this one wrong. We needed a lot more work. It was a bad evaluation, and I make mistakes too. Like, I didn't see something right out of the gate. And so I'll be like, I need more time, but I've never once said, get out your checkbook again, ever, not one time.
Right.
So there is some safety or some peace in going, what's this guy up to or whatever. We finished the project. And we have, anyone that wants to talk to any of the people that have been with me over the years, the sign hadn't stayed up just because, we're
I will say
off.
that your dog is beyond safe, and Trey Clark is 100% gonna. All that's good. Don't worry about that. What I want people to know is how smart Trey Clark is. Trey, I remember.
You're recording this, man?
How are your studies? I was so fascinated. Trey, one time he was off studying. What was it? Not the galaxy, but astrophysics, right? Trey tells me one day, he goes, "Man, I'm really interested in astrophysics," and Trey's like taking courses and watching videos. How has that gone? Have you gotten more into that? And I know this quite isn't in the dog world, but I want people to understand that this guy Trey Clark is not just some random guy training dogs. People need to understand.
Well, the whole, it does all tie in together, because I want to know how it all works together. I do believe
that's what I'm talking
there's a synergy that happens. I do believe in energy, and I'm not one of those guys that like hums with my thumbs together
like
and eyes shut. Yeah.
Okay, so astrophysics, yeah.
So the idea is like, how does this all work? Because it was a very, very interesting journey for me through some frustrating times to go, how do dogs really respond? And I learned that they're tuned into our vibrational energy. I really do believe that, and I can prove it all day long. They happen to be better than birds. Birds are tuned into electromagnetic stuff. Snakes can find their way, wherever they need to, and whatever it is,
Homing
dogs,
pigeons, whatever.
Dogs are tuned into us. There's nothing like a dog. So that got me to just kind of going, how does this all tie together?
Right.
And, I have ADD to the, 10 to the negative 17th tour. And I started thinking about it. It's like, if we can see it, then we're being affected by it.
Yeah.
Something is hitting us. If it's a photon or a wave or whatever they want to call it, it's affecting us in some way. And so how much? So I started looking up at the sky, and I got, a bunch of gear and looking at things, and I just found that what I saw in our textbooks is nothing like what it really looks like. And I thought that was very interesting. And what happened was, and and I want to say this with certainty, I do not believe in that the earth is flat. I don't believe that it's a globe. But I do know that if you get on your, I lived 1 block away. Right. Were you ever at my house in Corpus there?
No, I never saw the Corpus house.
We were 1 block away from the beach, and I could get on my elbows 6 inches off the ground with a camera, and I could see 34 miles away.
Right.
So the algorithm that you have to use, not algorithm, but just the equation that you have to use to see the curve of the earth, it was too far. And I thought, oh, crap. Oh, boy. And I couldn't shake it.
That it was flat?
I don't know if it's flat.
Right.
It's not. I didn't see flat. I just saw too far. You couldn't. So imagine seeing over, like, you know how, like, if you're at the Texans game.
Right.
If you're on the sideline and you're literally on the ground, you can't see the other side because it raises up and it pitches towards the middle, then goes on the other side.
Right.
So if it were to keep going, it would finally complete at some point a large circle. You know, is there a large there's a large community out there, people that are like flat, they believe it's a flat earth, right? There are, and I've been around these guys. I've gone to see what they have to say. What I don't like is when people claim to know what things are. Right. Like, I don't know if it's flat or not. I do know that I can take. I was on a radio show in Corpus, and I said, how about as soon as we clock out here, I will take you, and I'll get Google Earth out, and I will go to the beach in Corpus Christi, and I will look across the bay, which is 34 miles, and I will show you, and I'll show you what 8 inches times distance squared, that you shouldn't be able to see these things, and you're able to see small boats, the hulls of the boats. Right. 34 miles away. They should be 16 to 18 feet over the horizon. Now, was I looking for? I was going to make fun of people. I mean, I was like, dumb idiot. Watch, and I mean, to the point where I bought a camera made just for that, the Nikon P900, just to ridicule. And then I sat there and went, whoa, 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 whoa. Is that considered a conspiracy theory? It's the biggest one. What's your most favorite conspiracy theory? It's flat Earth, for sure. What is yours, Bill? Bill, do you have any favorite conspiracy theories?
I do not.
You must have one.
If I think about it, but I do want to go back to one thing. As far as what you do, Trey, and I want to tell people also the website is TreyClarksDoghouse.com. Right? Very good.
We do not teach anything to the dogs that has to do with the shape of the earth.
My dog thinks the earth is flat. Elvis, that's might be one of his problems.
If the earth was a spinning ball, though, why are they not chasing it constantly?
That's true.
No, that is a good point.
They would be chasing
See what I just did there?
Good point.
But my question,
tie-in.
Of all the things you could be doing, yes, music, you do music, but also, why did you choose to work with dogs as far as their behavior?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, I mean, they're fascinating. That's what I think. But why did you choose that as your profession day in and day out?
Short answer.
Well, it's funny because George probably doesn't remember this, but I was I was working at the GTAC, Galleria Tennis and Athletic Club, as food and beverage director.
Yes.
I was playing music.
I used to get free food when he worked there. Thank you.
But I sat there and I thought, I've got a broken back. I was like, do I want to be unloading produce trucks when I'm 70? Do I want to be playing, loading speakers and on the road when I'm 70? What would I do? And I just looked right there on my patio in Katy, where we never smoked any cigarettes or anything. Yeah. And I just sat there and said, for whatever reason, I had a calmness come over me. It was when I was going through the Dory thing. I said, what would I do if money didn't matter? And then within about 2 seconds, I'm petting Tabasco, the pit bull. I said, I want to just work with dogs. That's all I want to do. Yeah. And then I thought for a minute or two, there are people that do this that may not be particularly impressive on a regular basis, and I'm already pretty good at it, and I've trained hunting dogs and all that stuff. So I just said, what would I do if money didn't matter? And that's been literally my go-to. The money will come, do what you love. Yeah, that's right. And with music, it was the same thing. There was no price tag on, I'll play music as long as I can do this. I still pick up a guitar for free. and I make it very clear that I don't even like to talk about the pricing. I let Beth do it where I don't want to see a price tag on a dog.
Right.
I want to do my job, and everything falls into place. And it's a good thing.
You
I
found
want
your
my
niche. You found what you like.
I do, but it's not. I have to trust that God's going to put my needs first if I do what He's asking of me first.
Right.
And it's kind of a pact.
Very interesting. Real quick, what's your Bill? How about that, Bill? What is your favorite dog? As far not dog, but like famous dog. You know that's been like Lassie or one of these. Do you remember? Oh yeah,
I remember. Sure, Lassie was tremendous.
But every dog you're going to name, there's 7 of them that they used back and forth.
But the particular character,
to be
the idea of the dog, the character.
Oh, Reveille at A&M. There's 20 of those. I think.
Yeah.
What was
I
his?
got one in there.
Remember Reveille got kidnapped.
Hachi.
Yeah, I got him at my house.
Hachi, the movie with Richard Gere. Oh, I can't think of it. I think it's Hachi. But this dog is a dog in Japan, and I may get the name wrong.
Don't tell me it's the one that waited for him after he died.
Waited for him when he went on the train. But the bottom line, it was based. If you see this, it's tearjerker. But if you see the movie, it's based on a real dog. Again, I can't think of the name, but it starts. No, it wasn't. Cujo.
What happened was he died, and the dog was used to meeting him at the train every day.
Right.
And after the guy never came, the dog just went and would leave and then go home.
You saw the movie,
for
right?
years and years.
Yeah.
I had to quit watching it. I mean,
It was hard to watch. But the bottom line, today, whatever the Hachi, something named after the number 8 in Japanese. Long story short, that dog is there's the owner that died was a real guy, and the dog is buried next to him. And forever, this has been a dog where it's the symbol of loyalty to this day because of that. And yes, get the Kleenex out.
Wow.
Look, I mean,
what about you, Trey?
But
What's
it's a
your-
great show. It
what's-
was a great show.
What is your? If you had to pick, do you have a particular one?
No, because
Like the
I know
greatest
that
character dog
kind
of
of the
all time?
Hollywood. What I do is I have these. I'm gonna steer this in this one direction. What I didn't see happening, I thought I was like, yeah, I'm pretty good at getting dogs to do stuff. What I didn't see happening is the importance of what dogs have become in our families. And there are people that are beside themselves that are like people saying, we're at our wits' end. We're having marital problems. You know, the dog is dangerous to our child. I just had a dog that is coming up on an issue with a toddler that's a pit bull that we've had to muzzle, that I had to train to put a muzzle on and all this stuff. And she was like, I got to get rid of the dog. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't. Not this one, but there's a way to handle this and make it safe, to make people first and all that. And there's been this thing that has happened where I realize it's more important than just teaching a dog tricks. I'm in people's homes, and it does get tear jerking. I mean, it does get gut wrenching because people are like, I don't know what to do, and you find yourself, with success stories, and it's pretty cool.
And I want to clarify, I just checked it. The name of the movie is Hachi, Hachi, A Dog's Tale with Richard Gere and Joan Allen.
That is fascinating, Bill.
gotta see
I'm
that.
glad that is fascinating.
Go watch that, yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like so.
With
how
your
many-
dog. We got about 3 more minutes.
All right. Well, we'll start winding down here.
What else do you want people to know, George?
Right. Well,
Real estate, they could
Well,
reach you.
let me plug George a little bit because
Yeah,
he's
there you go,
bought
Trey.
in local George
.com.
localgeorge.com.
has been a friend of mine forever and has bought and sold every piece of real estate and almost some of my ex-wives, if that would have fallen into place.
You gotta
The
be
ones who
careful.
had real money.
Make sure they're not listening. Please. Probably get sued for something.
But George is I have to say this, like
I'm just
literally
kidding. If you are listening, you will not. I love y'all both.
the thing I want to say is that it wasn't just, I wouldn't have been able to ask anybody else to do it because George was there with, HVACs on the first flood and like every single thing that you could ask for a friend to do. George has always done it with bells on. And I was there when you were on CNN, going up and down with the boat and all this stuff. It's just, I'm so thankful. And I'm just going to do this one time and blow smoke once.
Right.
But the fact that I'm friends with you makes whatever business I've been able to bring to you worth it. if that's worth.
Well, absolutely. Well, and that's why I wanted to bring Trey here today. Trey is one of the most. We're both the most interesting people you'll ever know. I mean, I'm the most interesting real estate guy, and Trey is the most interesting dog trainer. But I'm telling you, we could do 10 more episodes of this, and we will on our podcast and YouTube channel eventually when we get up and going. But
I'm up and going. I have a studio.
I know we'll have more coming to y'all. So I just want to say thank you for everyone out there listening to us tonight. Look for us again, localgeorge.com, Trey Clarks Dogs.com.
TreyClarkDogs.com.
Trey Clark Dog.
Trey Clarks Doghouse. TreyClarkDogs.com. Trey Clark Band.
Yeah, something like that. Just Google Trey Clark.
Xanadude.com.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank my friend Bill Napick. And
hey, thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
And breaking news here. George, I never close a show, whether it's the real estate show when you're on or this show, Successful Living, but thank you for your service in the United States Marines.
Absolutely.
And breaking news, I just understand Trey Clark, Marine as well. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. So, I didn't do the service that he did. I had an early exit, and I just usually duck out.
Did you go to boot camp?
I did.
Okay.
Well, I decline a conversation under contract.
He attempted.
Well, websites to remember, everybody. This is Successful Living with Bill Napick. I'm Bill Napick. Today, Local George, localgeorge.com, a real estate top professional right here helping everybody, celebrities included. He's helping the who's who right here in Houston.
That's right.
And, of course, everybody loves dogs and real estate and anything else. TreyClarkDogs.com. It's that easy. Probably, Trey, they can go to YouTube and see some of your music videos.
Trey Clark Theories is a hodgepodge of music, dogs, everything, some kind of conspiracy stuff. So,
well, the next time you come back, we need to have a little MP3. We could have played a little bit of music on the outside, and that would be great. But thank you all. George, thank you for being here and being the guest host. Trey Clark, thanks for being here today. And thanks you all for listening to Successful Living with Bill Napick. And today with Local George Huntoon and Trey Clark.
Thank you.
Simply go to localgeorge.com, TreyClarkDogs.com, and, of course, RadioBill.net. That's right, where you can see past shows. Also, it'll link you into so many things. Once again, that's RadioBill.net. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. Until then, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Tune in to Successful Living with Bill Napick, a unique, engaging lifestyle program Sundays 8 to 9 p.m. on 950 KPRC. That's Sundays 8 to 9 p.m. Successful Living with Bill Napick. Go to RadioBill.net for more info.
Are you having trouble getting the Wi-Fi to work in your home? You know, if the home is over 4,000 square feet, it's going to be really tough to get the box from the service provider to do the job for you. Let me tell you about Jacqueline and Donnie from Media Systems. They have a team of high-tech professionals that know how to solve this. They also work on all kinds of home automation systems like Crestron, Lutron, and Control4. Look, if you don't mow your own yard or work on your own car, why are you wasting time with this stuff? Call Jacqueline and Donnie, your home technology advisors, and have their team take care of this for you. Media Systems has been in business for 40 years in Houston, and they're ready to help. Check them out at mediasystems.com, mediasystems.com, or call 713-426-0900, 713-426-0900, mediasystems.com.
Premise of the show is successful living, and so I want to push you beyond your limits. I want to get you.
I'm very uncomfortable.
Dogs and
as
more.
Jordan Peterson would say, I'm very uncomfortable right now with this line of questioning, and I think that maybe.